Okay, welcome back to the AI for Advisors podcast. Today, we're going to open with a story that might make some of you advisors listening a little uncomfortable, but we think it's necessary. So, picture this. You take your value proposition, perhaps the one you've been using for years, and you paste it into ChatGPT just to, clean up and tweak the wording a bit. But what it comes back to you with isn't just polish, it's a legitimate revelation. So, Sean, I know that you've seen this happen over and over many times at this point. What is the expression on an advisor's face the moment that AI reflects their own messaging back to them?
Well, shock is the word that comes to mind. Maybe embarrassment as well. Because, in this situation, the AI isn't interpreting your intent, right? It simply reflects the actual words that you're using in your value proposition. So most advisors discover, to their shock and embarrassment, that their message is vague or generic and largely indistinguishable from everyone else in town.
And of course, that's why we're doing this episode. So let's back it up a little bit. Why does this matter so much right now? Why is, value proposition clarity becoming such an urgent matter for advisors?
Well, I think one of the things is that the value proposition is something that first that advisors address early on in their career, because there are a certain number of things that you need to do when you're starting out. You should have a value proposition, you should have ideal client profiles, and those kind of help anchor your messaging. And then advisors start getting busy with clients, and they're off to the races, more or less. And they don't ever come back to it, even though they continue to build their business and continue to market. But that brings us forward to now, possibly, years later, and the current reality is clients are drowning in financial content and advice like noise. It's everywhere. And if your value proposition blends in, which what you don't want it to do, right? You kind of largely disappear. And yeah, and AI now is really the fastest way to detect whether your value proposition is strong and meaningful and connects with your audience, or whether it's hollow.
And, if an AI can't articulate your value clearly, then it stands to reason that, a prospect probably can't either.
Well, all right, if your AI, it takes a look at your value proposition and it comes back with meh, that's not good. And AI is, forcing you to see your message the same way your clients are, without the story you tell yourself. So when advisors are thinking about their value proposition, they're thinking about it in the context of everything they do with their existing clients and so on and so forth. So, there's the words that's on their website or how they speak about themselves. And then there's, all the accumulated history and interactions that aren't being expressed, but that the advisor is assuming is being communicated in his or her value proposition. And, so the AI is forcing people um, to see their value proposition. The AI is forcing advisors to see their value proposition the way that a client or a prospect does, without that story about them. So that's the disconnect there. The internal story the advisor is bringing, thinking he's acting on his value proposition, and what the AI is reading, that the public is saying. That's the issue.
Yeah, and I mean, there could be some very real consequences here. So we always say that, weak messaging costs advisors business, but are we seeing this play out in the research, or is this just something that sounds good to say?
Yeah, it is more than anecdotal for sure. And there's been a fair amount of research on value propositions, and advisors' posture toward them, how effective they are, whether they're using them. There's been a fair amount, I'd say, over the last 5 years. I was looking at the research last night. So we have, like, here's what comes up. 63% of investors say all advisors make the same promises. right? Two-thirds of investors can't tell firms apart. We know advisors have heard that. We hear it all the time, right? Additional data, 60% of investors say they can't distinguish one advisor from the other. So that's more or less a follow-on from that other data point. But from the, client's point of view, again, the messaging all seems to sound the same, right? And so this gives us a bit of a credibility gap because we've got 73% of advisors saying communicating their value is essential, but only half of advisors, this is other survey data, believe that they do it well. So that's also a pretty shocking thing that only half of advisors think they do a good job of communicating their value. I think it points to a serious problem. And the kicker is we've got 67% of advisors, basically, slightly more than two-thirds, have a formal written value proposition, but 22% say they work with an unwritten one. That's the story inside their head that they think their clients are seeing and hearing and understanding. And then 11% have no defined value proposition at all. So, between 50% feeling like they don't communicate their value as well, 67% of advisors having a written value proposition, and the other third basically not having one at all, it doesn't, it creates, it's an unhappy situation, I'd say for sure.
Yeah, so just to re-emphasize what part of what you just said, a full third of advisors are walking into the marketplace without a real value proposition.
Yeah, and that's not even getting down to questioning whether their value proposition is in fact good. So yes, big problem. And that gap, I think over time is costing advisors millions in uncaptured assets because when your message is unclear, the prospects are going to default to, price or something else. But it's not going to be your value proposition that's drawing them in. That's not what you want in a competitive marketplace for sure.
Yeah, I mean, if clients don't understand your value, they assume you don't have any.
Right. And, unfortunately, or fortunately, actually, as we'll see here, the AI makes this, painfully visible for any advisor who wants to, act on this value proposition gap. We need to come up with a good phrase for what's going on here. It's like we got people who have value propositions, but only half of them think it's good, and then we got a third who have none at all. So, it's a bit of a challenge for sure.
Yeah. Okay, so what makes AI in particular such a, brutally effective tool or mirror for advisors to use with their messaging?
Yeah, well, we know AI does an excellent job of summarizing what one's words are actually communicating and not what you meant. Um, but the AI also is capable of removing jargon and stripping things down, and it can kind of put its finger pretty instantly on whether your message is unique or generic. And it does this for $25 a month for a business plan for financial advisors. And I say this all the time. It's like all the things we talk about on this podcast relating to advisors, because this is the podcast AI for advisors, and it's all about applied AI. How to use this amazing new technology in your business, right? And one of the key aspects of it is, its ability to assume the role of experts that advisors have been tapping, marketing experts in this context for years. It's able to assume that role and deliver extremely high quality insights around your practice. But it's no longer costing you thousands of dollars and months of interaction with an outside consultant. You get it all right there on the screen, boom. And that is a key thing for people to keep in mind. And it's why, obviously, why we're so excited about the prospects of AI collaborating with advisors in their business. That's what this is all about.
So let's take an example of generic language you you pointed out, which we know is a problem, using generic canned jargon in your value proposition. So, when advisors say things like, we provide personalized, comprehensive planning, what is AI going to do to that?
Yeah, it's going to flag it as generic. And, I think the FPA published a study about jargon and some analysis, maybe about, I don't know, 5 years ago. And I remember one of the things was there was a point in time where people like to say holistic planning. And this particular study identified that the public, when they hear the word holistic, I think they think about their yoga instructor or their masseuse or their massage, whatever it is. And so, the research said, you know what, when we're communicating with the public, we should say comprehensive planning, not holistic planning. And that's great. But then if everybody reads that and everybody follows that, then what do you have? You have every advisor possibly using when it comes to planning and referencing planning, they'll use the phrase comprehensive plan. So the AI is going to flag that as as jargon, right? Or generic. And it's also going to be able to identify, unhappily, that that's what 10 other advisors in your area are also using to describe themselves. And so, this puts us in the situation of forcing the advisor to define what personalized or comprehensive actually means. And that's the key. That's the key trigger, I think, in this particular situation.
Okay, so if we have some listeners who are, bracing themselves for the the blunt, brutal, perhaps truth of what their value proposition, how their value proposition rates. Sean, what's a prompt that they could perhaps use with ChatGPT to get this critique?
Yeah, Doug, I'm gonna I'm gonna step people through that prompt, and I think it's a good. You and I need to do a better job of this. I think anybody watching the podcast that wants the prompts that we're discussing, they're going to be in our AI for Advisors free email newsletter, and you just need to go to horsesmouth.com/AI email, one word, and that'll put you on a little sign up page, and you just pop in your email, and you'll be able to see. You'll see our newsletter every week, which has all the prompts. So, putting that aside, let me step you through the AI diagnostic prompt. And then, Doug, I can go and share my screen and show people how ChatGPT responded to this prompt um, uh, just a few minutes ago before we went on. So here we are. So this is the diagnostic prompt. Um, and remember, in our program, we teach fundamental prompting of role task format. And then in our advanced, in our AI for Advisor Pro membership program, we go more, and our training programs as well, we go more deeply into role task format, context, question, examples. We give people a more deeper and richer framework. But at a minimum, when you're prompting, you want role task format, context if you can do that.
And Sean,
So
sorry, just quickly,
yeah,
on my end I can get it right. You're going to screen share
I'm going to screen share the results. I'm going to
the
read
result.
through the
Okay,
prompt. Uh, I don't know. We can go ahead and I can show people this up on the screen right now. Let me see if I can find the screen share. Okay. Stop. Here we are. Let me move all these the things out of the way. So I can make that a little bigger, Doug. I don't know if I can actually when I'm sharing. Nope, you can't. Can you see that, Doug, or should I go
yeah,
back in
yeah.
and
It
make
looks
it
it looks
bigger?
it looks pretty good.
Okay,
Looks pretty good.
good.
Yeah.
So, we talk about role, right? And so our role here is you're a veteran financial advisor turned messaging strategist who specializes in analyzing advisor value propositions for clarity, differentiation, and client relevance. Okay, so just note, public, anybody who's watching this, um, your role, you're invoking this expertise and the manner in which you scaffold it with these, additional phrases like, messaging strategist who specializes in analyzing value propositions for clarity, differentiation, and client relevance. That is a detailed role that really helps you get good results with your AI. Now we move on to the next part, the task. After you invoke the role, what is your task? Your task in this situation is to evaluate the following advisor value proposition and identify what it actually communicates, right? Not what's intended. What parts are generic or indistinguishable from competitors? What clients will misunderstand or overlook? Where value is missing or implied but not stated? And then it will offer three more differentiated versions, okay? And so then we move on to format in the prompt, and we simply say, use a 5-section numbered analysis with short, specific explanations. And then the context is this value proposition is for a fee-only financial advisor with this particular type of client profile in this particular market. And so here's the ideal client profile that I created for this prompt. And it simply says, this is for, in our training, I often refer to Bailey financial planning, okay, as a sort of stalking horse for these kinds of issues. And so we say here at Bailey Financial Planning, we work primarily with successful professionals and business owners in their 40s, 50s, and early 60s who've accumulated wealth through their career and are now focused on retirement planning. Our typical client has investable assets between 500,000 and 3 million and value a trusted advisor who can help them navigate complex financial decisions. They're looking for someone who understands their unique situation and can provide guidance on investments, tax planning, estate planning, and retirement income strategies. Many of our clients are busy professionals who want expert advice so they can focus on matters most to them. Okay. So the value proposition. Doug, I actually made a tiny mistake here. I think I just delivered the more detailed one, but let me go on. So you're describing who your client is. Yeah, I just described who the ideal client is. That's correct. I was wrong. So then we're going to say at Bailey Financial Planning, we provide comprehensive financial planning and investment management to help you achieve your financial goals and secure your retirement. With years of experience and a client-first approach, we build lasting relationships based on trust and integrity. We take a holistic view of your financial life to create customized strategies that give you confidence and peace of mind. Okay, so that is the prompt. And let me now go over to here. I was in ChatGPT 5.1 is the new model that's out. You can see here's the prompt, there's the task, there's the format. I put in our ideal client profile, who I said those were people in their 40s to their 60s, business people. And then I put in the existing value proposition. And then I asked ChatGPT to analyze it. And so let's see what it says. It says what this value proposition actually communicates in plain English. The message boils down to, we do financial planning and investments. We care about clients. We've been doing this for a long time. We try to be trustworthy and we help with retirement. That's what ChatGPT is saying. That value proposition that we discussed earlier does. Okay. And here's the sting, right? The bit of the embarrassment. It says it communicates categories of service, but not a point of view, not a promise, not a transformation. It's essentially a reaffirmation that you exist and follow standard industry norms, right? That is not good, folks. That's not what you want for your value proposition. So let's go on, because remember, we asked for a 5-part analysis on that value proposition. So here we go. What's the next part? What's generic or indistinguishable? Well, these phrases are used by every advisor in your market, whether they're wirehouses, RIAs, hybrids, planners, brokers, or insurance reps. Comprehensive personalized financial planning, investment management, achieve your financial goals, secure your retirement, years of experience, client-first approach, lasting relationships based on trust and integrity, holistic view, customized strategies, confidence and peace of mind. None of these, the AI is saying here, differentiate you. Every advisor claims them and consumers know that. All right. So now we get to the third part of the analysis. What clients will misunderstand or overlook. And so it says comprehensive. Clients assume this means a binder, not ongoing advice. All right, I don't know about that, but Personalized. Most assume every advisor says this and don't believe it. The public doesn't believe it. That's E. That stinks. Client first, often interpreted as compliance language or empty virtue signaling. Another ouch. Holistic, too vague. They don't know what's actually included. We were just talking about that. Confidence and peace of mind, emotional promises without proof. No specialty. They won't see that you focus on 40s to 60 years high earners unless you explicitly say it, right? Okay. Uh, no clear outcomes. They don't know what your process actually does for them. All right. So now we move on to part 4, where value is missing or implied, but not stated. And this is the real gap. Retirement transition expertise, not stated. Tax strategy as a differentiator, implied, never demonstrated. Complexity management for busy professionals, not explicit. The 500K to 3 million niche clarity is erased from the message. Local market knowledge is missing. Pain points, high taxes, equity comp, distribution decisions, social security timing, RMD planning, they're all absent. Process name or signature, right? So there's no saying we follow, our daily financial planning 5-step process or anything like that, which I think is something that advisors should do more of. And proof of outcomes. Well, can't be promissory. So it's saying there's no numbers, no examples, no transformation story. Um, you know, uh, that is an issue that you would probably want to address as well, okay, to whatever degree you can with compliance. And remember, this is the AI that's acting as a message strategist. So it's going to come back with 3 stronger, more differentiated versions of the value proposition that we put up there before, which, by the way, at a glance seemed, pretty good. So here's version A: retirement clarity for business professionals. That's the suggested, header. At Bailey Financial Planning, we help successful 40 to 60 something professionals turn career savings into reliable retirement income plan without guesswork. We specialize in tax efficient withdrawal strategies, social security timing, and coordinated investment management, so you know exactly what to do, when to do it, and why. Busy people come to us for a plan, an expert guide, and the confidence that nothing important is slipping through the cracks. Not bad. Here's version B, which they title Tax Smart Retirement Planning for High Earners. It's pretty good. Uh, we work with high earning professionals and business owners in our market who want to retire on their terms without leaving money on the table. Our focus is tax optimized planning, reducing lifetime taxes on withdrawals, Roth strategy design, multi account coordination, and investment management aligned with a real withdrawal plan. You get one integrated strategy built around your numbers, your deadlines, and your life. Okay. I particularly like that one, especially the last part, because it's not talking about us, it's talking about you. And that's something we always need to find the right balance when we're talking about value propositions. Our about page, where this would more or less show up on our website, right? Can't always be about you. It needs to be about what you do for me, the investor, the prospect, the client. Version C, the retirement transition from, you know, whatever to professionals. Here we go. We guide successful professionals in their 40s, 50s, and early 60s through the most complex financial transition of their lives, moving from accumulation to income. Our process delivers a year-by-year retirement income plan, coordinated investment and tax strategy, and ongoing decision support so you never have to navigate big financial choices alone. If you want a partner who brings order, clarity, and expertise every step of your retirement transition, we're built for you. Okay. So, Doug, I think that those are all really solid. And let's go back and look at, what we started with, which was we provide comprehensive personalized financial planning and investment management to help you achieve your financial goals and secure your retirement. With years of experience and client first approach, we build lasting relationships based on trust and integrity. C&C, we take a holistic view. Um, That was a very generic, I mean, that was a generic value proposition, yet one I think is fairly common. And we got the AI to critique the heck out of it. Yes, it was painful. And then it gave us very good, um, three very good drafts that, and again, when you're working with the AI, you're collaborating with the AI. These are drafts. You are the human in the loop. You're collaborating with AI. It's proposing drafts that you still need to take on and make your own. So, that's pretty powerful stuff, I think, Doug. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think, yeah, and to get it so quickly, and even if you're going to end up tweaking it and reworking something quite a bit, to have something to start with, so you're not starting from scratch, is just much more efficient. Yeah, for most
Yeah.
people, I think. Yeah. Um,
Yeah, yeah. And I think it causes the advisor to realize that their clients can't repeat their value proposition back in English. To me, that's a definition of what branding is. Branding is what the public says about you or your company in their own words, because when they're asked to pull it out, that in fact is what has managed to seep in, and that is your real operational brand, whether it's good or bad, right? And that's why um, I think in this particular case, Bailey Financial Planning would go with any of those three upgrades to its value proposition because they were much more concrete and differentiating of what Bailey Financial Planning can do versus other people in the community, right? So you go through this process and you see that your clients cannot repeat back in plain English, what your brand is, what your value proposition is. They see how much advisors will see how much of their messaging really is coming across like kind of industry wallpaper, right? And then you see the gaps, right? There's no transformation, there's no emotional value, there's no concrete outcomes, which of course always need to be managed with the compliance and not, over-promising or making any promissory statements. So um, yeah, I think that's how a lot of advisors this is what you'll see if you go ahead and do this process.
yeah, and of course, once you see it, there's really no going back to what you did have for your messaging.
Yep, it's comfortable when you haven't been stung by this kind of analysis and you're still operating with this, sort of fantasy value proposition that you think everybody understands, but most of your clients actually don't. So the clarity is really powerful for sure.
And so once advisors diagnose the problem, how do they then go about fixing it? Do you have any like workflows that you could
Well, I
offer?
mean, yeah, I mean, I think you first run this diagnostic prompt and accept the feedback and then iterate with it, right? I mean, that is what is going on here with AI. It's not just about, I mean, we talk about the AI usage ladder all the time. At the bottom rungs are, very transactional things, slightly beyond web search or even web search. Maybe some rewriting, note summarizing in the second rung, third rung, maybe creating a sort of marketing campaign. Fourth rung, the highest rung, is the sort of thinking and strategy. And this value proposition conversation, just like last week when we were talking about the ideal client personas, right? And these things fit hand in glove. That's all operating at that higher level of the AI usage ladder, which power users go up and down that ladder all day long. But anyway, my point here is that this is where this prompt will lead you to a conversation at that higher level about your value proposition. So you iterate, you go back and forth with the AI. It's critiqued your value proposition. It's suggested some improvements, and then you go back and forth on that until you find something that you think is valid. You may want to test it out on some of your favorite clients or some of your COIs. Every advisor I've ever met has their sort of home team crowd, the people who, they know, love them, and they're able to be very open. Many of them are actually like clients slash friends. So you can, try it out on them or try it out with some of your best COIs to see how people respond. Presumably they'll respond well. I do believe that. And then from there, you can then use that as messaging guidance to make improvements to your website, particularly your about page and your messaging when people hit your homepage for sure. So those would be a way to start to operationalize this value proposition critique that you've gotten from AI.
And of course, for advisors who do this value prop analysis, don't be don't be embarrassed, right? Don't take it too personally if the AI is brutally honest, perhaps, right?
Yeah, I mean, this is a very powerful tool that you can collaborate with and is going to bring you, in many cases, valuable new insights. And I think what is more valuable than getting somebody to really, critique and tear apart the heart of your messaging, right? So yeah, AI is acting kind of as a mirror here. And so, we're faced with this situation um, where any advisor who goes through this process, like the opening where we were discussing an advisor hypothetically going through this process and feeling stung, it's going to give you the ability to rebuild your message from scratch and really uh, identify what actual transformations you promise and deliver for your clients, right? Things like, you know, tax smart retirement planning, uh, peace of mind in the context of that retirement income plan, and good decisions around Social Security and Medicare, all those kinds of things make people feel like they're comfortable in retirement or in their planning for retirement. And really, that's what we're trying to achieve here. So yeah, that's what we want to say.
Okay. And so for advisors looking to move forward with this, after listening to this episode, what's the first thing that those advisors should
Yeah,
do?
I mean, go ahead and do this diagnostic, right? Uh, Put it in, get a conversation going with your AI model, ask it to critique your value proposition, use the prompt we've mentioned. And again, people can get that prompt in the by signing up for AI for Advisors, our free email newsletter. And you can get that at horsesmouth.com/AI email. That'll put you on the page to do that. But the other chance that people have is they can join our AI powered financial advisor program. The next class starts tomorrow,
Tomorrow.
right?
Tomorrow. Yep.
Tomorrow we have 1 week, then we're off for Thanksgiving, and then 3 more weeks into early December. And so you can join the AI for Advisor Pro program. Get involved now. We're going to be doing as our follow-on program, AI for Advisors Pro. If you go with our training program, you're automatically in the AI for Advisors Pro program. We'll be looking in December at late November, December, a lot of marketing related stuff so that we're going to use AI to supercharge our 2026 planning. So I'd recommend people get involved now. We're not going to have another the AI powered financial advisor program again until February. Um, so yeah, get involved and you'll see the kinds of workflows and the step-by-step stuff that we teach people in these programs. And well, advisors are loving it. We've done, I think, over 300 people in the last year. So yeah, come and get involved. It's a great opportunity, and your value proposition will be much stronger as a result of all this.
Yeah. And at the very least, get on the newsletter. Get on the newsletter and get some of those additional resources. So,
Yeah, you definitely want to be able to keep track of what it is we're doing. So for sure, get on the newsletter. All right, thanks, Doug.
okay, great. Thank you, Sean. Great stuff.